Good evening, everybody. A warm welcome to tonight's talk, brought to you by the Spiritist Society of Bournemouth and Poole Christian Spiritualist Church. I am Fabrício Assunção from the Spiritist Society of Bournemouth. It's a real pleasure to give a very warm welcome to our guest speaker, Dr. Sérgio Thiesen. It's great to have you leading us tonight, Sérgio. Thank you very much. Let me say a few words about Dr. Sérgio. Dr. Sérgio is a distinguished speaker. He works in Brazil in medicine, and for decades he has worked as a cardiologist and university lecturer. Sérgio also is a leading member of the Spiritism movement in Brazil. He was a member of the Upper and Physical Council of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation for 24 years. As I said, he is a very distinguished public speaker on Spiritism and is a scholar of the frontier between medicine and spirituality. Sérgio has given lectures about Spiritism in 34 countries. We look forward very much to your talk tonight, Sérgio. But before Sérgio talks, let us go to Lawrence Saville at the Poole Christian Spiritualist Church for our opening prayer. Over to you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Fabrizio, and good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our speaker tonight. If we could just still our minds just for a short time, leaving all the troubles, cares, concerns just to one side, just to live in this moment, and link in with that God of your own understanding and the divine within. Gracious Spirit, we come together once more to travel along our own separate pathways, seeking enlightenment and knowledge, and finding that strength from within to enable us to be of service to all those that we meet across this plane of existence. We ask that this night that we listen with open ears, open mind, and open heart, and take what we can from this evening's talks, and using those tools to strengthen our conviction that we do live forever, that this time is a time of trial and tribulation, but also a time of joy and celebration. So let us live this life to its fullest and its best, in that knowledge, harmony, and unity, that there is no death, just a change of condition, from life to life. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lawrence. Now, my friends, it's my great pleasure to hand over to Dr. Sérgio Thiesen from his talk about magnetism, mediumship, and medicine. Over to you, Sérgio.
Thank you. Thank you, my friends. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to stay during this hour studying with you about this frontier between three very different but very nice sciences and aspects of our life. I would like to remember when we talk about magnetism that we may understand about two different things. Commonly and frequently, we understand about the scientific point of view from schools and universities about some kind of materials very commonly on Earth related to the attraction of different materials. So magnetism is a very important science around the world. And we have one scientific approach and understanding of magnetism. We have a very nice history of this science in this world. We have one region in the south of Greece, in Europe, and a very old aspect. Some different facts occur because of one mountain with a very high quantity of iron magnetic, and some pieces of the common history of that people attracted to the mountain. So the first idea from magnetism comes from Greece, from Magnesia on Greece. And the name magnetism comes from this kind of mountain related to the attraction of some pieces with materials with iron components too. Nowadays, from Mesmer to those days, we have another kind of magnetism. The magnetism related to cure. One kind of magnetism related to the hands in positions, trying to heal the people with very different medical and specifically psychiatry problems from the times of Franz Anton Mesmer in Austria, in Vienna, and then in Paris, France. So we needed to establish the differences between those aspects of different magnetism. If I ask my daughter or my son about what is magnetism, they will tell me about the mineral magnetism, from the magnets, from the inside of the earth, because our planet, the earth, we are a very big magnet too. We have the North geographic pole, but we have the North magnetic pole. It's very interesting. They are different between them, and that they have some different position in the context of the planet. In the south of the planet is the same. We have the geographic south pole as we have the south magnetic pole. So we have very nice phenomena related to the idea of our planet as a big magnet. This is one kind of magnetism. But when we are dealing with some possibilities, some fluids, some fields, the will that we have in our institutions trying to help the people with different medical problems, we are talking about one different magnetism, some kind of aspect from the biological structure of ourselves, but in the same way, we have one similar magnetism from the spirits, from the discarnated ones, because this is a very different field, but it is the same spiritual magnetism from the good spirits trying to help us and trying to help our patients. Let me do some presentation to you. Let me see. Well, magnetism, mediumship, and medicine. I would like to tell to you that medicine, we have 5,500 of years in the history of this humankind. In the same time, we have the history of medicine. Medicine, the first idea comes from the Egypt, the ancient Egypt, from a doctor named Imhotep in the defined dynasty from the ancient Egypt. Hippocrates comes very different times after Imhotep. So now we have a very important science around the world. We have so many benefits from the medicine that we have today. We are living with very advancements in terms of possibilities to understand the illnesses in terms of physical body and including the mental illnesses around the world. I would like to remember you that the Earth, it is the planet that we know something about, because our civilizations, because our history, because we are here. We don't know nothing about the other planets and the other and different humanities. But we would like to know that the good spirits tell to us about that our planet, it is as a big school, one kind of elementary school to the development of the moral aspects of life, acquisitions of the virtues in substitution of the moral vices that we have in this kind of world. Different spirits, very nice too, very friend of everyone. They tell to us that the earth and that the people in this humanity that we are living here, this is some as a hospital. So, in the understanding of many different spirits, this planet, this is a hospital. If you know, we are living in the solar system. This solar system are in the a medium-sized galaxy that we name in Portuguese Via Láctea. So we have Andromeda. Andromeda, we have 5 trillions of different planets, 1 trillion of stars or suns. So we have different schools in the universe, in the big universe. So we have 2 different planets considered by the good spirits as hospitals too, as we understand our world, the earth. So we understand that we have thousands and thousands of different diagnoses in medicine in different countries around the world. So we have important public and individual problems related to the common diagnosis in medicine. We have different pandemic in terms of depression, anxiety, risk of suicide. We have the autism in our children. We have cardiovascular disease, diabetes, hypertension, cancer. We have degenerative disease. We have neurological, gastrointestinal. We have many and many different diagnoses in medicine. And we are trying now to use the linkage between magnetism, mediumship, and medicine, trying to do some kind of upgrade in our possibility to care of the people, of our patients, but trying to do some kind of upgrade in our condition to help and to cure the people. Because we are learning by spiritist studies that all of our diseases or illnesses in the body or in mental problems, all of them, they are related or they are caused by spiritual problems from the past lives. Because we study reincarnation and we are understanding that the suffering that we have in those days, independently of the true diagnosis, they are always related or related with bad things, bad decisions, bad choosing, or doing in some way, a good way, or in another one, resulting some problems because of the law and effect, the law of cause and effect, because all that we are doing in those days, they will go back to us. So many diseases, so many medical problems, and others, in a world of tests and atonements, we can link these atonements with the different diagnoses in medicine and in a spiritual troubles from our past lives. I would like to present to you, my friends, when we understand matter, energy, fluid, and magnetism, we need to study those things in a scientific point of view. The word magnetism, we need to relate to the scientific approach of this science, but together of this approach, we can understand the work of Mesmer and the magnetizers, including Allan Kardec, in different centuries from Mesmer to those days. And we are trying to relate and to use with the intention to care in a different view, in a different approach, our different patients in my clinic, in the Spirit Center. So I would like to show you this one. This is a computational model linked to the idea of quantum vacuum. This is the idea of the arriving or the surging of some fluid and some different fields of one kind of matter, a very nice matter from the spiritual reality coming to this world, and we, because of our hands in position in the magnetism to heal and to care of our patients, this comes from the spiritual reality. We can manipulate, we can use this to the benefit of our patients. This is a very nice idea of when we are dealing with the possibility to help as mesmer and all the magnetizers. We can use something like this in our minds because of our will to help the patients and the fluids from our hands. I would like to remember you the energy of a body or a system is the ability it has to generate any action. We need to understand what is energy, how we can relate the scientific idea and the definition of idea with our common life, and specifically the idea of energy to help and to heal our patients from our minds, our hearts, because of our good feelings and our transferring of energy to our sick patients. For example, we can relate the heat energy with heating, the electric energy to electric current and light, magnetic energy to magnetization in terms of different materials by one scientific and common in science point of view and understanding of magnetization. Mechanical energy, where one example, the movement, chemical energy, the digestion, nuclear energy, radioactivity, and mental energy too, because our thoughts, we are creating thoughts and related to our thoughts, mental energy too. But magnetism, this is a property of matter known since ancient times, thousands of years ago, because of certain stones from magnesia, because of the constitution of that stones and mountains, magnetic iron oxide magnet, the magnet in general. We consider first the Earth as a great magnet because, for example, the magnetized needles of the compasses and the navigation and the birds that comes from one region and they travel thousands of kilometers without any problem because they have on their brains some sensors of the magnetic field of our planet, the Earth. We have the Aurora Borealis as a very nice example of magnetism from science because of neutrinos, because of solar winds related to our atmosphere on Earth. But we have Aurora Borealis in Saturn and in Jupiter, our neighbor planets too. We understand in medicine from the last 40 years the nuclear magnetic resonance, because we use this to diagnosis in medicine. I made diagnosis in different ways to detect the medical and mind problems in many people. And we have one train. We have the train by magnetic levitation, the maglev, very frequently used in Japan and in China, because they are very difficult, because we need a very important countries, but it is very expensive to create the lines. But this kind of train, they have one velocity by near the velocity of the planes traveling to one city to another. Here we have the idea of the magnetism, the lines of the magnetic field around one magnet with two different poles, the south and the north, and in the other image, one idea, one photograph of the aurora borealis. This is a very beautiful and a typically magnetic phenomena, especially in the north, in the countries in the north of the earth. This is one different picture in Finland in those days of aurora borealis. Here, the idea of nuclear magnetic resonance, but now we have so very different and fine images, because now we have nuclear magnetic resonance related to function. In another day, we can examine very interesting relationships between images of the brain and feelings in medicine, as gratitude, as forgiveness, as charity, of solidarity, and many different things. That we are utilizing these feelings in preventive medicine and in therapeutic and curative medicine in those days around all the world. This is science. This is one ceramic I had the opportunity to work in some years ago in one field relating the heart, magnetism in terms of the cardiovascular problems, cardiac arrhythmias, and this kind of ceramic. This is one kind of levitation. This is a very interesting material from the universe, and we have this on Earth too. And that is the maglev, the train with the magnetism. The train are leviting, and because of the levitation, they can obtain a very fast possibility of displacement. Here, my work some years ago related to magnetic cardiography, those kinds of, for example, studying detection of magnetic fields from the human heart in terms of healthy heart and disabled and sick hearts of my patients in a lab in the University of Biomagnetism Laboratory in Rio de Janeiro. This some kind of presentation in different congress, in different cities and meetings of biomagnetism. For example, in Vienna, in Austria, the land of Mesmer by coincidence. Two different works in terms of magnetism, magnetocardiography in men. Here, I put this way because this is a different magnetism. The magnetism of the spirits, the spiritists, the spiritualists, the magnetizers, the hypnotizers. This is different. The product of the exteriorization of the mind. We can create by our thoughts fields with kind of magnetism. We could talk about Van Helmont in that century because he described the animal magnetism. Mesmer, some years ago, universal fluid, properties of magnetism, of magnets. And James Braid, a different aspect of the same magnetism, in the 9th century, the hypnotism and many other different researchers that try to benefit the medicine and the psychology, psychotherapy, trying to help the people with different mental problems. Some kind of spiritual magnetism by the passes, by the healing process, by the magnetism of the healing people, the passes, the fluid therapy, it's very common in spiritualist church and in spiritist societies around Brazil and around the world. We have the water magnetization, the water energization, the blessings and exorcism. We have some ideas from different faith, from different churches. They use the same kind of magnetism, with a little different between them. Folk healers, very common in Brazil during many centuries, and they do a very important healing of the people, the poor people, the simple people, so far from the hospitals and big centers in different cities in Brazil, but not only, in different countries around Brazil. The healings by Jesus and the apostles, local and remote, Jesus utilizes the same kind of magnetism, but with a very higher spiritual condition because of the condition of the evolutionary aspect from the life of Jesus. Physical effects and ectoplasm. We have the phenomena of transport of objects, turning tables in the United States of America, and in France, in Paris, related to the surging of spiritism from the table tournante in the common society in those years in France and specifically in Paris. I had a very nice experience of materialization of discarnated people in one kind of common environment. We are 12 people, and after one prayer, and because of the medium, one medium that offers the ectoplasm, we can see the vision of discarnated people, spirits of doctors, of physicists, and common people that comes to the meeting to talk about different issues in terms of common life, including modern physics, and medicine. This was a very interesting experience, and we can talk about this in the future if you want. Fluids, according to science, we have substances, matter, that can drain. Liquids as water, blood, gases as oxygen, helium, plasma from the stars, vital fluid, and ectoplasm. They are, all of them, examples of fluid. We have a variety of colors, density, utility, effects on the human body, odor, visibility, and tangibility. You know this. This is fluids according to the common science. But we have fluids as we can study in the spiritual or spiritualist or spiritism point of view. We understand the idea from Mesmer again, the universal cosmic fluid, the universal cosmic primordial fluid. This is a very interesting aspect to study, related to modern physics, to quantum mechanics, to relativity, general relativity theory. But this is a very interesting to see in another moment. The vital fluid, the living beings. We need the vital fluid because if we do not have the quality and quantity, we are dying without the vital fluid. But we have the spiritual fluid of spiritual origin because they permeate, integrate, structure, and shape. We are dealing now with another name, another idea of field. So we have magnetic field, we have electromagnetic field, we have the nuclear, the heavy nuclear field, gravitational fluid. We have different kinds of fluids that we study on physics. If we try to understand the relationship of our thought with medicine, with magnetism, and with mediumship, it's good to pay attention to the idea that we have 100 billion of neurons in our brain, but our thoughts, we understand that they come from our spirit, from our souls. Maybe in the future we can spend some time to study two nice and different models to understand the thoughts and the consciousness. We have one idea of that our thoughts, when we are thinking about one problem or one with one people, remembering or trying to create something, we can understand the thoughts by the idea of the, just a minute, the idea of one spreading of electromagnetic waves. And this is very important to us because we have the properties in our thoughts of the same process of electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic interactions that we have in different aspects of the universe life. But now we are dealing with one very nice model of that our thoughts they are in the quantum point of view. We have some experiences, some kind of different researches by physicists, my colleagues in physics, related to one trying to understand consciousness and the thoughts, the quantum mechanic model of consciousness and the thoughts. We will study in the future, maybe together, with the idea of the experiment of Jacobo Grimberg Zilberbaum. He was one physicist in Mexico City 35 years ago. And then they put two friends thinking together during a half hour. And they put them aside in different buildings and put the electrodes of the electroencephalogram. This is a common procedure in neurology. And because of that experiment, they could suggest, do not prove, but they could suggest the idea that our thoughts have one quantum mechanics basis because of the velocity of the transmission of the information between the two friends between them. But I would like to have the opportunity in the future to talk to you some details about this. We need to understand too in this idea of the integration between the tissues, the organic tissues, the organs, the biological systems. But we have in the cell the important ideas of the human condition of the physical body. But we have the cells in the perispirit. We have the same in the spiritual body that are in the frontier, in the linking of the soul or spirit and our physical body. We have one kind of spirit. This is a science too, but we can see in that image, in that draw, the complexity of one cell. And we have fields, we have matter, we have magnetism. I suppose that you know about biophorus and different aspects from the cell, the nucleus of the cell, and the cytoplasm too. This is the biophotons, or cellular light. And we are dealing with this to trying to detect the intimate aspect from the physical body. And this is a very nice, different field of research in medicine. We have the papers in the medicine and physicist magazines around the world trying to study the value and the importance of this one. What are biophotons? All the living cells emit a specific irradiation of very low intensity in the frequency of microwave in a way in which is laser in nature. This radiation is made up of biophotons, so called because they are photons emitted from biological sources. Biophotons seems to have a decisive impact on the process of cellular communication and integration. The relationship between consciousness, spiritual aspect of life, and physical body. And the changing of paradigm, because we are changing paradigm. in terms of medicine and materialism. Because in the old times, including now, we are dealing with materialistic paradigm, but we are trying to put spirituality and in human problems in medicine and in therapeutic approach. The medicine in those days, it is changing because of religiosity, spirituality in the frontier, in the common and medicine that we have today. We are trying to put in evidence the importance of the integration between spirituality in medicine, and spiritism help us in a very nice fashion to do this. So this kind of cellular light comes from the DNA of the cell nucleus. This is a model from Dr. Tyler, the psychoenergetic model. He is a professor emeritus from Stanford University, makes the action of a field of biophotons to explain the process of interactions between consciousness and matter even more plausible. This is the idea that we have nowadays. We are constructing instrument technology to detect the vital fluids from the fingers that we can use when we are trying in the hospital, in the spirit society, to do our tentative to cure and to help the people. This is a model of research that we are dealing now. We have the biophorus because of the cytoplasm from the cells. We have the biophorus in the Spirit's book named Evolution in 2 Words. André Luiz, from the Mediumship of Chico Xavier, tell to us about some cell properties that we can name as biophors. This is different from biophotons, but we are studying this to have the better idea of the mechanism of the healing process. We know as spiritualists and as spiritists that we have the physical body, but we know that we have the perispirit, and we have the more important aspect of life, our souls, our spirits. So when we have one medical problem in our body, one cancer, one infection disease, as for example, tuberculosis, when we have an acute myocardial infarction or pneumonia or one inflammatory bowel disease, we have a problem in the body. And in the same, when I have many people around the world with the problem of depression, we have the lack of neurotransmitters in the brain, but all in the body, they are consequences of what we have in the spirit or what we have in the perispirit. And in the years of our lives, the problems related to our bad actions in the past, they are changing the molecules, the atoms, and the subatoms particles from the inner world of our perisphere. They can change during the decades our body, promoting the different diagnoses and medical problems in our body. The medicine that we have now only can see and evaluate the physical body by resonance, by ultrasound, by tomography, by PET scan, and different ways in modern medicine. But we need to develop one new apparatus that will, with the future, obtain the image of our inner structure in terms of perispirit. So we can see in adolescence, in the adult life, before the diseases comes to the body and to the mind, we can detect the perispiritual disabled situations, and we will care of them before they generate the physical body and common medical problems. In 20 years, we will have a different tomography, a different resonance capability because of the development of the science, of the technology. And in some decades, we will have this. For example, BioOffers, this one offers to us the idea of the linking, how the mechanisms of linking the mental problems with the cell and organic problems. For example, depression and cardiovascular disease. Depression, mental problem, spiritual problem, and the decreased activity of the immune system. Depression and cancer, mind-body, spirit-matter paradigm, healing magnetism, the action of the soul, the perispirit, and the physical body. The healers, the conscious magnetizers, this is a very nice science between magnetism, mediumship, and medicine. And this is the idea of our study. For example, depression and coronary heart disease. If I have my patients with acute myocardial infarction, and I compare 100 of patients of acute myocardial infarction with depression, with another one group of different patients with the same cardiovascular diagnosis, but without depression, and I compare the prognosis 2 years after, I detected that we have the double of mortality of the people that have depression with coronary heart disease. This is very impressive because the unique aspect of difference between those two groups is the depression or depressive disease. How depression can change the heart and can put the heart of those people in a higher risk of sudden death and death. We are studying this one. This is the biophotonic field. I think I will not have time to do this now. I don't know if I will have time to share with you different cases from because this is a work of a very amazing group in the Spirit Society, because we are, in the recent decades, we are receiving many different cases of very disturbances, medical problems, from the clinical and physical body medical problems, and different diagnoses in psychiatry. Because I have 4 minutes, and I will only share with you some images. But in the future, if you want, I can talk with more details about those cases. Don't worry, we will schedule this to the future. For example, this is Rodolfo, one patient with acute pneumonia in Rio de Janeiro. And the medical evolution was very severe, uncommonly. And he is at the hospital, and one woman that works with us asked to help Rodolfo because the risk of life. So we use mediumship, magnetism, fraternal dialogue, in terms of opening the case of Rodolfo. We can detect many different spiritual situations, from one past life in a war, and in a different problem in this life. The life in Rodolfo is living now in Rio de Janeiro. We care with our mediumship group of the 2 spiritual problems. And then he is Rodolfo in the same day, photographed by the wife of Rodolfo, because I asked her to do that, because instead of the poor prognosis and the risk of life, I had a good feeling that a changing of the medical situation. And then 2 days after the meeting, the recovery of Rodolfo. I would like to tell to you some details of that approach, but we do not have time to do that. This is the recovery of Rodolfo, and he goes to goes home in some days after that situation. This is the last photograph, but we have many of them because his wife sent to me, trying to help me to doing some kind of monitorization of the case. This is a newborn in Sydney, Australia, a very nice history of medical problem, a neurologic problem that surged in the 10th day of life. Different movements. This is completely abnormal. And my colleagues in Sydney, Australia, that I visit maybe 7 times, they do not have the idea in medical point of view, what is that? They do not have experience about that. And the mother, Viviane, sends to me different videos about the newborn, the name Luca. The same head and arms movement, abnormal movement. Another video, the same. And in this moment, our group tried to help opening the case of Luca. Matteo he is the brother, but he is Luca. And we open the case and we enter in a war situation, and we use the healings process to help inviting the spirits related to the war and helping everybody in a recent war in Vietnam. Here after the work, in the day after, completely different, without that movements. The father doing the video and the mother doing the bath of the Luca. After the bath, the same day, nevermore he presented those abnormal movements. I am presenting to you my little boy, my little friend in Sydney, Luca. Here, a very interesting aspect, because I don't know if you know about ideoplasty, the idea of mental forms, thought forms that we can create to help to heal the people. And we use this because when he was born, he has a very severe lateral ventricular dilatation in the brain. And we use the ideoplasty to try to help. And this is one image, new exam to compare with the first one. And here we can see the brain completely normal for the first time as a result of that approach. This is Luca, some month after. This is Luca again, and because he lives in Sydney, all the child in that beautiful country, they used to surf. And I become a surfist because learning the surfing practice in Australia. This is my professor. And in another visit some years after. Let me show you this one. This is one case in Rio de Janeiro of a little boy who is 7 years old with severe autism. When I opened the case in the Spiritist group, all of the mediums around us, they could see a different one and common victims from that conflict with some responsibility of this different Lucas. So we need to care. We can do it to care the discarnated spirits related to the past life of the patients. And when we do it, when we did it, all of the patient obtain some benefit in terms of prognosis and frequently inclusive in terms of cure. 1 week after, with the grandmother, with the mother, he continues to be an autist little boy, but the changing was very clear. And from one severe case, we have now one light to moderate case. And we continue to help by passes, by changing the problems that we have in the brain of autistic people with the healing by the passes, idioplasty, and other aspects involved, the prayer, the complete tools that we have to help those patients. This is one Brazilian, but I know this case because one visit near Boston in United States of America, when I was finishing one lecture in a Sunday in a spirit group, the mother and the father comes to me to ask for help to Anna, a very important convulsive syndrome, the syndrome of Rett, very important in pediatric neurology. This is a convulsive aspect in a video from the mother, because I asked her to send it to me because I needed to know about the reality. This is another video, another convulsive crisis. During one day, 40 crises similar to this one. Do you understand what is that? So, another video in the same week from the mother. And after that approach, this one new experience to the family in a Sunday in the play. The mother sent it to me spontaneously because the happiness of the changing of the medical aspect of the cases. The mother, the sister, the grandmother, all together in a very happy Sunday. The same. The possibility to stay walking in the park in that Sunday. This is a very severe case. I think it's interesting to show you some cases, but I want to consider the time. I will go to different slides only to show you, but I will finish now. This is a very interesting case without movements because of the Prader-Willi syndrome. With 2 months, the prognosis is 6 months of life because a very severe condition. In the same day with the physiotherapist, no movements. After that kind of approach, with 8 months, and after 2 years. The doctors, they don't know about this. They do not understand this kind of changing in the clinical manifestation of the problem. This is one very interesting case from one infectious disease very common in Brazil, the Zika virus. The changing, it was so clear, the case becomes anew in the newspaper in Rio de Janeiro and Brazil. Another case of convulsive treatment in a newborn in Rio. The first photograph before the clinical problem. When I visit Miguel, him in the hospital, this is the scenario, the changing, the exams in terms of genetics, and when he goes to the home after the treatment. We have many things to see, but I will try to consider those in the future. Okay?
Dr. Sérgio, it's amazing. I'm very impressed with all this has been shared with us tonight. It sounds to me you need to go back, because a lot of people here on Facebook is asking you, can you ask him to come back? Can you ask him to explore more of this or carry on with that? So we definitely need to get you back so that we can proceed, because time flows so quick, and it would be amazing if we could get you back to carry on with this talk with us. If this is okay, shall we do maybe 10 minutes questions and answer? Are you okay with that, Lawrence and Sergio?
Yeah, maybe till midnight.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the questions here on Facebook, and I will read them out, and Lawrence can get them up on screen as well. We have people from Uruguay saying hello.
And
you have some
Punta del Este, Uruguay.
We have got some Linda saying this is quite incredible, and a question from Sue. She says, do you feel we shall treat it by using sound and vibration as methods to heal ourselves, as our physical body becomes less dense in matter too, and also learn how to heal ourselves when we more fully understand that we and everything is energy?
Well, thank you for your question, Sue. I would like to consider and remember that all in the universe are vibrations. So when we use music or different sounds in higher and nice frequencies, we can try to obtain some benefit, especially when we understand the relationship with those vibrations from the common reality around us, with God, with the angels, with the good spirits, and with the good feelings of ourselves. For example, Sue Townsend, we are dealing with the benefits from the prayer. In the prayer, we use different kinds of vibrations, but we have the linking with the good spirits, the good angels around us, and because they are lovers, they help us. They are coming to try to heal our different aspects. And not only when we have some medical problems, but when we have some kind of health condition, to continue to this healthy situation, in a kind as a kind of preventive medicine, because we have one predisposition to be sick with different medical problems because of our past lives, because we have divine loss, because in the past, because of ignorance, we did something causing problems to the other people. And we have the cause and effect law. And we are coming to a new life with our perispirits in a predisposition to have diabetes, hypertension, cancer, different microbiologic origin diseases. So every time, so when we utilize good vibrations in terms of lights, colors, in terms of sounds, in terms of feelings or thoughts, when we put the vibrations from all the universe in material terms and in spiritual terms to our benefit and the benefit of our patients, we are doing the better. So I only suggest to you to know about spirituality in terms of a very concrete aspect. And if you like sound and vibration, if you have this understanding about the importance of those aspects, you will have a very nice way to know many different things together, the experience and the knowledge that you have now. We invite you to change experiences in those terms too. Thank you for your question.
Dr. Sérgio, Matilda is asking us, is there a book with the cases? The cases that you presented?
No, I need to write some books. I need to have some energy and time to sit and to write, because I am working and dealing with those environment of one medicine linking common medicine and spiritist medicine during the last 40 years. So those cases are own cases from the hospital, from the emails, the cell phone, the messenger, and the other possibilities of linking. And the Spiritist Society, because we receive many cases from the world asking to help in this approach. And then I need to sit and write these books with these cases. But those cases presented now and 1,000 of them in those machines, in those notebooks. This is come from the experience of this spiritist group in Rio de Janeiro. So I don't know that we have these cases, but for example, I have a colleague of mine in Porto Alegre, Rio Grande do Sul, that have a book without images and videos and photographs as I presented now. But he is a professor. He give to me a very nice experience about this. But those cases I need to write the book and present to the people this kind of results in terms of the approach between spirituality and medicine.
We have Linda saying, please could Dr. Sérgio come back and tell us some more?
I will do it. Will be a pleasure. Maybe here by notebook and by this live, by StreamYard or another different platform. But after the pandemic, we will stay together in a different way. Thank you.
We have a question from Matilda that she say, have you done any tests using spiritual healing / Reiki or craniosacral treatments?
Matilda, I love all the aspect that comes from the hands because of Jesus from Nazareth, because the teacher that put in evidence this reality, utilizing the fluids from the hands and the good thoughts and the good feelings to help the people with different problems in medicine. I love Reiki. I love Jorei from one different church. I have some friends, lovely friends, that have a big experience trying to do different ways and trying to help the sick people. But because of spiritism, and I am a spiritist from my childhood, because my parents, they are spiritists before I was born. I was studying and as a doctor practicing this way. But if we can establish some scientific models with the same but different, as a different way, aspect from Jorei and Reiki. But I do not have one personal experience with Reiki, because as a spiritist man, I always was trying to understand and to put in action the studies about the healing process of the passes, of the magnetic passes, of the therapeutically passes from the spiritual energy and the spiritual magnetism. But I understand that you are dealing with some healing, very near process, and all of this in different cultures and different societies. All of this is very nice to this world, because this world is a hospital, and we need to do different things to help the people. And I would like to tell you, in just now that the approach from the spiritist group, this always is free. Do you understand? No money related to this approach, because we are students from the gospel, from Jesus. And Jesus asked to us to do the things by charity, by love. Do you understand? Mediumship, in this way that I presented to you, this is completely outside possibilities. This is not a commerce. This is by gratuity. This is because we love to help the people in Brazil, in the United Kingdom, in Uruguay, in the United States of America, maybe in different words. Do you understand? I would like to reaffirm this aspect too. We understand mediumship is one beautiful aspect that comes from the heaven to the people, help the people as a tool in terms of love and fraternity.
Thank you, Dr. Sergio. I will read the last question before I hand it over to Lawrence for the closing prayer. And that question comes from Jose Rodriguez. He says, what will it take for mainstream medical science to investigate the science in Spiritism, and in particular, the healing modalities of Spiritism?
Well, let me try to answer. I study medicine from my 20s, and because of my family, I always study medicine by the science of medicine through the word. I study cardiology and internal medicine, my specializations, and I try to understand the life that we have with a spiritual point of view, aside or independently of one mechanicist, materialist point of view from the medicine as a science in the world. Because of my interest to understand the suffering of the people and to try to do some different things to help the people, I study Spiritism, my basic science, because Spiritism is a science too. We are dealing with interscience between Spiritism and medicine. And when I complete more or less 10 years of graduation in medicine, after my residence program, after Master of Science, I understand that I need to study physics. So I enter again in the university, very happy to do that, to study physics, the classical physics and the modern physics. I complete the master, the credits, not the thesis, but the credits of the Master of Science in Physicist too, because I have the necessity to understand the universe by the laws of the physics, because we can study universe by mathematical point of view. So I tried to integrate medical science, modern physics, classic physics, and spiritism, putting all of this together. And a very nice aspect, colleagues from different schools and medicine practice around the world, they are trying to do the same, to establish a new frontier of integration and linkage between spirituality, religiosity, and medicine. So, if I understand, I could only work in common medicine, in the medicine that all my colleagues around the world are doing in those days. But 40 years ago, I understand to do some linkage between those different sciences. So I am studying. I am a student of this interscience between magnetism, energy, physics, mathematical models, spirituality, spiritism, and medicine, trying to obtain one different result in different cases around the world. I am trying. Many colleagues around the world are trying to do the same. For example, in this last minute, maybe, I am trying to participate of the higher medical congress in the world. For example, in Lisbon, in August in the last year, the World Congress of Psychiatry, the higher level of psychiatry meeting in the world. And I visit my colleagues, sending and sharing with them the frontier about how to approach to the psychiatry patients with the spiritism, with mediumship, with disobsession, and the passes. And we compare the result that we have before and after this kind of approach. I presented one paper as a poster with different diagnoses in psychiatry. And I visited Jerusalem in the beginning of the last December. The same World Psychiatry Association promoted in December in Jerusalem one meeting of spirituality and psychiatry. And I visit, and two papers was accepted by the scientific committee. One with different cases, with different diagnoses in psychiatry, the same of the Lisbon, and another one, oral presentation about the spiritist approach of autism spectrum disease, in an oral presentation. This is the idea that we can do this, because we have many cases, and when we arrange, when we put them together, we have some ideas different from the common ideas. So we are trying to share with the colleagues in medicine. Thank you, my friend.
Very interesting, Dr. Sergio. There is a lovely message from Linda. She says, "Thank you, Dr. Sergio. I have been fascinated by your presentation. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. Thank you, Laurie and Fabrizio, for organizing these evenings. How wonderful to hear about the little boy in Sydney. He looks so well and happy. This is a remarkable work. Wonderful."
Thank you, Lina. Thank you so much. I suggest to Fabrizio and my friend from the Spiritualist Church that we can in the future program and schedule some seminar, some meeting, November, December, January, trying to talk about this frontier with so much time in a different fashion, but as we are trying to do this night. I am so happy to stay here with you. I would like to thank you so much, everyone that are together now, everyone that could, that will have the possibility to know about this meeting in the future in Facebook, internet, and we can do some more discussion and studies in the future. Thank you so much to this opportunity, Fabrizio and Laurie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sergio. So, Lawrence, would you like to do and to make any close remarks before the closing prayer?
Blown away. A lot I was very struggling to keep up with, but there was quite a few parts in there I was going, you said about thought forms and as a practical aspect, and that idea has never ever occurred to me. And that's just opened up a lot of doors, and that's going to give me a lot to engross my mind over the next few coming days and weeks, I know. But brilliant evening. Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you too, Lawrence. Thank you so much.
Okay, so what I would say then, I will say a very good night to everyone who has been watching us. Thank you very much for being with us, and I will hand it over to Lawrence for our closing prayer.
Thank you, Fabrizio. So once more, dear friends, just reside within, linking in with that thread of the divinity which runs through us all. And we give thanks for this knowledge shared tonight, for these lessons given to us, for us to take that which we can hold and use to progress our spirits through this material world, to be used in the art of healing, understanding, recognition, and all under the banner and name of love. Amen.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, everybody. And I see you in a couple of weeks on the 13th of November, where we will have the next speaker is Altino Majest, and his topic is Chico Xavier and his historical novels. I hope to see you all there. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Bye-bye.